just dropped my camera, so I'm crossing all my fingers that everything's still working. I really need to get a new ring light. I'm waiting to get paid because all of my money at the moment is going on gigs, which, speaking of, hey guys, so all over the place. Thank you for your patience, but I have 3 gigs this weekend. This week, Monday, Friday and Sunday. Just know I apologise, but I appreciate your support nonetheless. Anyway, we are doing some Reddit reactions. Today we're doing some Momzillas, aka Bridezillas but mums. Well, the mums of brides. How do I handle a Momzilla SOS? Great start. So I truly never thought I'd deal with something like this in wedding planning. My mum is dramatic, but never this bad. All over me telling her that she can't invite over 30 people to our 150 person wedding. Okay. Why do people feel entitled to invite people they know to someone else's wedding?
The audacity!
It's different maybe if it's like family, like make sure to invite your sister or your brother, although, you know, if you've got a bad relationship, that's completely up to you and no one else if you invite them. But the fact that some people just think like, well, I'm paying for it or whatever, so, or even if they're not paying for it, like how dare you, but even if you are paying for it, doesn't mean you're entitled to the guest list. We have never been close to our extended family. It's just me, her and my brother and his wife on our side. And both me and my partner's parents are divorced and remarried, so we have 4 sides. This is what she's done. Did not speak to me for a week. Why is she a petulant child? Why is it that parents act like teenagers or toddlers? Blew up at me for an entire day while I was at work, sending me hateful messages and putting words in my mouth. I would just block. I've had to turn off my WhatsApp messages before because I've had constant messages. I just remember like being constantly distracted and being like, I am at work. You need to fuck off until I'm either at lunch or I've finished work, because I can't be constantly being distracted. I have a job to do at the end of the day that I'm being paid for. Called me a bridezilla, spoiled brat, among other things. I always love that when they have the audacity to call you a bridezilla for you wanting something on your wedding day that you are entitled to want. Not like, you know, there are bridezillas that are ridiculous, obviously, which is why they're called bridezillas. But people wanting things on their wedding days are not bridezillas or groomzillas. They are the bride and groom. They are allowed to request specific things that they want on their wedding day. That is within reason. Told me not to invite her to the wedding and to take her off the list as well as her family. Okay. Less heads for them to pay for dinner. So for more context, she also flipped out when we were deciding our wedding party and hadn't even come close to solidifying it, and screamed at me on the phone and called me names because she didn't approve of who we were considering. She also wanted to divide my bridal shower and leave my dad's side out of it. Oh, God. Why are they such children about, like, just be an adult, for fuck's sake. Just buck up and deal with it. Unless someone has been abusive to you, for example, or like SA or something like that, then that is understandable why you would not want to be in the same room. But if it's just because you've broken up and therefore you just don't like each other anymore, just get over your bullshit or just ignore the person for your child's day. It is your child's day, not yours. Why are you such a child? I am avoiding this issue by planning it myself. I have told her kindly so many times that she is ruining wedding planning for me. This is the thing. Wedding planning and moving house are some of the most stressful fucking things because there's so many things you have to organise all at the same time. Why are people this difficult and awkward? If I was to ever get married, which is unlikely, but like, I've always thought if I was ever to get married, I would have like 1 or 2 people there and I would go abroad. Because Jesus Christ, I'm not dealing with this bullshit. I feel bad for people who deal with wedding planning. I have had absolutely the worst time only because of her. That should be enough for her to calm the fuck down, by the way. If you tell the person who is making your life extremely difficult and upsetting to plan your own wedding, that should be enough for that person to be like, do you know what? I shouldn't be ruining my daughter's wedding. This is the only wedding, hopefully, she's gonna ever have, and I should not like ruin her experience. If that's not enough, she shouldn't be at your wedding. I'm seriously at the point of almost going no contact with my mum over her blatant selfishness. After her initial blow up, I told her I would not accept any financial contribution from her because she used it to hold over my head before we even used it. I fucking knew that it had something to do with that. You're already doing it, to be honest. Sorry you're dealing with this though. But not accepting her financial contribution, making the decisions you want to make and potentially going low or no contact with her is a personal choice that you get to make if you need to. And that's how you handle it. I would suggest trying to start therapy if you aren't seeing someone already, somewhere you can process this turnaround in your mum, explore giving her another shot, and if that's something you want, as well as strategies for going about it that won't be an unmitigated disaster, and what to do if they are, and get some help figuring out if you want to go low or no contact. If you can't start therapy for whatever reason, consider dedicating specific time to introspecting about these things. Maybe journaling about it, reading about strategies to create and maintain boundaries in a low contact or no contact situation, etc. Basically, give yourself dedicated space to process this specific piece of your life with or even without a therapist. Oh, this is quite the comment. If you told her kindly so many times that she is ruining your wedding planning for you, I think it's time to accept that kindness is not going to work for you. Stop discussing the wedding with her. Don't initiate any contact with her about anything wedding related. When she's communicating with you, whether you're talking or it's via text message, think about it this way. How would you respond to the way she's communicating with you if she wasn't your mother? Oh, that's such a good point. If a coworker called you names, what would you do? You would say, you can't speak to me like that and I'm ending this conversation. I think it's helpful to take a step back and realise that we let people who are family say the shittiest things to us, things that we would not tolerate from a stranger. If she's sending you abusive text messages, send a message saying, it's not okay for you to say these things to me and I'm blocking you for now. I will unblock you tomorrow and you can text me then if you can discuss this without being insulting and abusive. This is the perfect example of what to do. I love this. I don't think it's helpful to have a global discussion about her behaviour about the wedding in total. I would deal with each incident as it happened. You're not going to engage in this type of communication with her. She needs to rein herself in if she wants to talk to you about anything wedding related. Oh, good point. The craziest thing for me would be that she behaves crazy and ruins the wedding. So maybe plan some security to have an eye on her during the wedding and maybe tell the bar people to not give her alcohol or something. That's just, like, so sad that you have to put in contingencies for shit like that. Why can't people just act like adults and ignore this sort of shit? Like, just don't make drama. People just love to sit in the drama, don't they? Dealing with a Momzilla. Oh, this one's been deleted. So, I love my mum, I do. But oh my god, she is driving me crazy. She said numerous times she wants to take a hands-off approach when it comes to the wedding and doesn't want to really give her opinion and respects my fiancé and my decisions. However, pretty much every step of the way, she has had to put her 2 cents in when it comes to our decisions. Just last night, she said she felt that we weren't doing enough to represent the family at the wedding.
Oh, that's so weird!
And how we were putting our friends before our family and how it's effed up. Mind you, everyone in my family were walking down the aisle. At one point, she alluded that all our immediate family should walk down the aisle and stand alongside us because family should be number one. That's not how weddings work. Like, you have the maid of honour and the best man and the bridesmaids, equivalent for the men, which are normally friends. And sometimes, like, if you're really close, a couple of family members. So that's really odd. That's a very narcissistic thing. It almost feels like she wants us to make our day about us and our families. Like, our families should be showcased and have the spotlight as well. Literally. That is what she's alluding to. She wants to take the spotlight off of you and onto everyone else, which it is not their day. It is yours. Like I said, my whole family will be walking down the aisle. Some of my fiance's family is also walking down the aisle, so I'm just not understanding what more she wants. She really made my fiance and me feel like crap by saying we've been thinking of the family as second and that they're an afterthought and we're not making an effort to represent our family. Has anyone dealt with something like this or similar, or is currently going through this? Any tips on how not to go crazy? Also, we are not doing enough to include the family. Why does this feel like, I'm not going to read the comments just yet, but I don't know. It's got the, not just a narcissistic family, but like the Italian mob or something. Time to stop sharing anything with your mum. Mum wants to showcase for her family. She can hold a party to do that. Right, this isn't a birthday. Your wedding is about the bride and groom, not their families. Take control now or you'll be looking at a nightmare on your wedding day. It sounds like mum has unrealistic expectations for how much family is showcased during a wedding. I have never heard of an entire immediate family standing up with the bride and groom during a ceremony. Could be a cultural thing though. And having them all walk down the aisle is certainly a great way to showcase them. If I was you and you're able, I would consider sitting down with your mum and explaining how she is making you feel and express that you want her to be included, but you need to come up with some realistic ways to do so. There's many ways to include family, but it has to work for both of you. It sounds like you've been very considerate of her and you need to maintain boundaries during your planning. That's the thing. People love to walk over your boundaries. That's something I've really struggled with. I've had to have discussions with people before, being like, I've set this boundary multiple times and people consistently keep walking over it. And I feel like I'm getting to the point where I need to be blunt about it, because I think I'm being way too polite setting this boundary, and I need to now set the boundary in a more stern way. Everyone I've spoken to about like giving them examples of how I could say it, they're like, oh, that's really harsh. And I'm like, yeah, but I've tried to be nice and it's not working. Okay, Momzilla supporting Border Patrol Bridezilla. Oh my god, so we've got two. And this is a long one, so I think we're probably going to have to finish it here. So, here is the background. Sister is getting married in Canada. It's an immediate child-free extended weekend. I can already see where this is going. Destination wedding. She thinks that it's within her purview to decide that my 4 kids aren't welcome to be in the next town over, being cared for by either a sitter hired in Canada or by someone travelling with us during her wedding. Alright, if the kids aren't going to the fucking wedding, then it shouldn't be a problem. Like, child-free wedding is the wedding's child-free, not you get to say what happens with the children. This is weird. I am not opposed to child-free wedding and have not asked my sister for any special accommodations or anything. We have used both of those options to attend other destination weddings without imposing on the wedding or other guests. After my sister freaked out at me on the phone, why have I got a feeling she just doesn't like kids or doesn't like your kids? And stuck her fiance on the phone to back her up. Full story on that below. I sent my sister a text stating, we really wanted to come to your wedding, which is why we tried to find a solution for our kids that was mutually acceptable. The reality is that we are not comfortable leaving the kids while both husband and I and mum and dad are out of the country. So if it's not acceptable for us to all be in Canada at an off-site condo, with the kids having a sitter during the wedding and husband hanging out with them during other events, or bringing someone with us to watch them at the condo during the events, then we won't be able to attend your wedding, but we will look forward to the family reception my mum is planning. That is completely understandable. Look, I also would not want kids if I was to have a wedding, any sort of type of wedding, because it's just not for me. If you set limits, if you set boundaries and limitations and stuff on your wedding, you have to be okay with people having to reject it. Whether it's that it's a day that doesn't work for them, for example. If it's a destination wedding, people may not be able to afford it. If it's child-free and they can't find an acceptable way for the kids to be like looked after, then you have to be able to accept that those sort of people just aren't going to be able to make it to your wedding. Sister responds, I understand that you may not be able to join. If you or you and your husband end up finding a way to come to Canada without the kids, we would look forward to seeing you there. Please let us know by date so we can get a final head count. I responded, no, you don't have the authority to dictate anything beyond who is invited to your wedding events. Good luck getting older sibling who was planning to do the same thing as me to attend. Momzilla is pissed that I'm not coming to the wedding. Well, maybe she should talk to the Bridezilla. She has been telling me all sorts of untrue things about myself, assigning me motives. You told your sister on X date to ruin her day. Telling me I should know details about the wedding guest list that haven't been told to me. Why would you know the wedding guest list? Especially if you have nothing to do with the preparations of the wedding. Saying I've been unkind to my sister. I haven't spoken to my sister since those texts, but that's not out of the ordinary, and I have not been mean. The only thing I have told her is that she doesn't have the authority to tell me how to parent my children or decide who travels with me. Telling me I didn't give my sister the option of us bringing someone with us. I did twice at the restaurant and on the phone call, plus sent the above text. My mum was attacking me like a flying monkey. Sorry about this, and I am so over it. So this is the story of the husband getting on the phone. So the story is that my sister asked me if I could go dress shopping with her. My mum and I drove to where she lives. When we picked her up, the first thing my mum says to my sister is, you have to tell aunt and cousin they're not invited to the wedding. Why? Why are you being assigned that? Because her intimate wedding apparently would have only been immediate family and a couple of friends. But my sister invited our aunt and cousin, who is like another sister and was one of my bridesmaids, to go dress shopping. So she's inviting them to key wedding like events, but not inviting them to the wedding. Like, why have I got a feeling this is money related? I would have noped out of the dress shopping had I known that up front. So when we were at dinner after dress shopping, she told aunt and cousin they weren't invited. I was super uncomfortable about that and stressed about other things, and I should have kept my mouth shut, but I mentioned that we'd be bringing our kids to Canada, but not to worry, we wouldn't impede on anything because we were going to stay off site and either bring someone or get a sitter there for them for all necessary activities, and they wouldn't be anywhere anywhere near the wedding or any other activities, which seems completely reasonable. My sister turned frigid and told me that wouldn't be acceptable and suggested we take it offline. She's speaking to you in person. Sounds like someone who's perpetually online. So after we were driving home, she called, it was raining, and started telling me how unacceptable it was that under no circumstances were my kids allowed in Canada during her wedding. She and her fiancé both spoke very heatedly, and I calmly answered their rapid-fire questions the best I could, while repeatedly telling them they don't have the authority to decide how I parent my children, so long as I'm not imposing them on her wedding events. She said bringing them to Canada imposes on her wedding events. No, it doesn't. She made a bunch of suggestions about what I could do with my kids. Apparently there's an Am I the Arsehole post about this. I'm not going to go through it because it's going to take forever, but there are updates. We'll come to those in a sec. She made a bunch of suggestions about what I could do with my kids instead and told me that I should have known that I would be expected to do hair and makeup with her. What? I'm not in the bridal party and I hadn't agreed. This is so somebody who's trying to get like services for free. Oh, I fucking hate people like this. And that they have planned a full itinerary and that I was remiss for not asking about it when making our plans. If you're not being paid, you shouldn't be expected to be part of that plan or itinerary. First update. While I was out this afternoon, my mum stopped by unannounced with one of those bridesmaid gift boxes filled with a note asking me to be a bridesmaid and random crap like eye mask that says bridesmaid. It was from my sister for me. She left it with my husband, then like 2 hours later my mum texted me. The gift that I brought over that was from Bride is something that she ordered for you when she originally was planning to ask you to be a bridesmaid, but she wanted to make sure you got the gift anyway, even if that didn't work. She 100% did that because you were refusing to do hair and makeup, and she thought if I get her to be a bridesmaid, we can get her services for free. Second update. I sent a text to the bride last Sunday asking what was up with the bridesmaid gifts and clarified my understanding of the situation. I offered 2 ideas of how to have my kids cared for in a way that was comfortable for me, and that she told me I would have to find a way to leave them at home. I haven't heard back. I also told my mum I won't be responding to her calls or texts, and that she may not stop by my house without an invitation. I don't like the way she's assuming the worst about me, and all the codependency stuff is really coming to a head. But the most juicy update is that the wedding date changed. It changed a week before the bridesmaid gift debacle, and my mum didn't say a single word to me about it either when I was on the phone with her multiple times that week or when I was at her house overnight one of the nights. The fact that my sister didn't reach out with the new information means we're not invited, plain and simple. Either that or she's trying to make sure that you can't sort out care for your children within Canada, if you see what I mean. Although you would still have to get care for your kids if you were going to leave them at home too, because you'd have to pay for a babysitter to stay with them at your house or something. Anyway, now my brother isn't going either because he would have to leave for the wedding on his regular custody day, the literal day after his child's birthday. So the day he would be celebrating this child's birthday and also miss a whole weekend of custody to go to the wedding, if his ex would even go for that. So we're going to plan a trip together that weekend so our kids can celebrate their birthdays together, since one of mine has a birthday 3 days earlier than my nephew. This is 100% inspired, you guys. Also, it's a formal black tie optional wedding, but apparently they've opted for texting the information and relying on a wedding website instead of actually sending invitations. This sounds so cheap. Best bit of information on the wedding website is that their welcome event is a bowling alley.
Oh, I love being right!
Because you know kids don't exist at Canadian bowling alleys. That's such a good point. What the fuck? Who thinks they can dictate something like that? Your sister is ridiculous. You can't ban your children from the entirety of Canada. It's hysterical that my sister thinks she has that kind of power, and it's killing me that my mum thinks my sister has that kind of power. But it's just pathetic. Holy shit. You can ban kids from a wedding, but not an entire country. Good on you for telling her to pound sand. She does know children exist in Canada and will probably be more proximate to her than yours, right? I'm Canadian. On behalf of Canada, you and your kids are allowed. However, we would prefer if the bride went somewhere else. I think that's going to have to do it. That was a long story, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe if you like it. I do Reddit reaction about every other week, so if you enjoyed these videos, make sure to like them so I know it's something that you enjoy and it's a subject you enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!